Meanwhile, back on Get Up, meanwhile on Planet Earth, this is stuff you don't see, right? Right before the show, Dominique's getting ready to go. That's Dominique's cat, Lamar, getting into some trouble on a shelf. Oh, yeah. Lamar is just not a fan of decorations on shelves because he's a cat.
Very. Yes, sir.
Dominique.
Broken.
What happened? Something get broken? Lamar is breaking Christmas decorations
he hurt
in the Foxworth.
Look.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Santa going on IR.
Yeah. That's, I mean,
He
that's
attacked
tough.
Santa.
Hey, Lamar looks like an expensive cat.
Hold
bro.
it like this.
It's
Is that an expensive cat?
Yeah, of course it is.
That's what I
My
wonder.
wife got us a cat, and
Yeah, that thing look-
I never wanted a dog more than I did right now when Lamar's destroying things. We should have
I
gotten
mean,
a dog.
that thing looked like a leopard. You know what I mean? I think a little mini leopard. That thing ain't cheap. I know that.
And that makes it even more expensive when they start breaking things. Yeah, so the cats, as we'll do No Fox Given with Dominique later. Obviously, the cat is at the front of that. In the meantime, it's time for Overreaction Tuesday, where I make a statement and the guys will tell us if it's an overreaction or not. So, Dominique, if I said Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback in the NFC, is that an overreaction?
Yeah, I think that's kind of an overreaction right now. Like, we have to give some credit to guys like Matthew Stafford and Jalen Hurts, guys who've gone deep into the playoffs. Even Jordan Love has had some real playoff success. What Jaden Daniels is doing right here in Washington, D.C. is incredible. It's a team that we thought had no shot, now has over 10 wins. So he deserves a lot of credit, and he may be, in the near future, the best quarterback in the NFC. But right now, let's just slow down for a second.
He was pretty awesome on Sunday. I mean, do you count him among the star quarterbacks in the league already, Mike T?
Absolutely, Graz. Like, to me, the definition of a star is when you can make players around you better. They had 5 turnovers and beat a first-place team. That is the definition of a star. And it's not in a year, it's not 2 years, it is right now. This is a team that has a chance to make the playoffs, and who knows, maybe make some noise after that as a rookie.
It definitely seems to be special. Jeff, staying in the NFC East, is it an overreaction to say the Cowboys should keep Mike McCarthy as their head coach next year?
It's not an overreaction. I mean, you think about Dak Prescott. He went out and said, hey, let's keep Mike. Micah Parsons came out and said the same thing. CeeDee Lamb is playing with a bum shoulder. They just beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who had playoff dreams and hopes it might have gotten dashed because of the loss. This team is still doing what they got to do to win. So I think they're playing hard for McCarthy. It's unless you tell me who you're hiring, it's very difficult for me to say you're getting better at that position.
Neek, what do you think? McCarthy done in Dallas, or you think he comes back?
Nah, I mean, I think the way that this team is playing solidifies it, and we understand how difficult it is for coaches in that unique situation. Mike McCarthy's had some success, and this team is still fighting and playing well. The defense hasn't played this well all year long, and you got to think that you bring back a quarterback, address some of the holes that this team could be competitive again next season. It's not a full rebuild. It's just a reload.
Yeah, to Jeff's point, Graz, typically Jerry Jones has hired an experienced head coach, so you juxtapose Mike McCarthy with the experienced coaches that are out there. And I think when you look at that, I think that gives Mike McCarthy the benefit of the doubt. They're clearly playing hard, and once you're eliminated, that's hard to do. And as this graphic shows here, they all had previous head coaching experience in terms of the last 5 hires. That would portend to what they would do if they would move on from Mike McCarthy.
Find out here in a couple of weeks on that. Meantime, the Eagles probably gave away their chance at the number 1 seed with that loss on Sunday. So if I said, Mike, without the 1 seed, the Eagles won't make the Super Bowl, am I overreacting?
Yes, Graz, you are, and here's why. Right here, Jalen Hurts, his A game is good enough to win the Super Bowl. You go back 2 years ago when they lost to the Chiefs in overtime in the Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts was the best player on the field. That showed us on film that his A game is as good as anybody. So while it's far from ideal to go on the road, especially in Detroit or Minnesota, they could certainly go on the road and still get to the get to the Super Bowl.
So they'll have to go on the road if they get to the conference championship game, most likely. But in the meantime, here's what the NFC playoff picture looks like right now. If it ended today, the Lions would get the first round bye. Now the Vikings are still in that mix, and they play each other in Week 18 and all that. But as of now, the Eagles would have to play the Washington Commanders in the first round. And we know from having watched that game on Sunday that that's a tough game for the Philadelphia Eagles. And they could very well lose it as they just did. So when we look at Sunday's game, Jeff, Eagles-Commanders, is that a bad game or a bad sign for an Eagles team that we were thinking might be the best in the league?
I'm going to say bad sign because it took them out of the 1 seed. Obviously, losing Jalen Hurts was a massive blow to their team in winning that football game. Got the 5 turnovers, still couldn't convert on them and make this, take this victory home. The 1 seed for me gave them a bye week, and everybody at this point in the season is banged up, whether it's Barkley, whether it's Brown, whether it's Smith, you name it, offensive linemen, defensive linemen. It's a long football season. So to get that bye, to get that home field all the way through would have been massive. I agree, though, with Mike T. They can go on the road and win. I think they match up actually pretty well with the Commanders. It was an anomaly, in my opinion. But to your point, they did lose, and so it gives the Commanders hope. But I still think it's an excellent football team. They're my favorite in the NFC, in all honesty.
Neek, what do you think about the Eagles having to go on the road in the playoffs and win in Detroit or Minnesota to get to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think obviously that'll be a tough thing to do, but this team is built to do that. They run the ball well. They play incredibly good defense. And while they lost yesterday, like that, watching that game, at no point did even after the Commanders won, as much as me here in D.C. would want to pretend like the Commanders are better, like the Eagles dominated that game. And there were 5 turnovers from the Commanders. It's not something that you can rely on. And the Eagles still had a chance to win if one of their high-level, Pro Bowl-level receivers can hold on to a pass at the end of the game. So while I agree with Jeff, it's a bad sign because they lost their first-round bye, it's not a bad sign for this team. It was just a bad, kind of unfortunate, unlucky game. And if Jalen Hurts comes back and is healthy, if he survives that game, they were up 14-0. Like, I feel like they would have steamrolled Washington, and presumably he'll be healthy for the playoff game. So a bye would be easier, but I don't think that Washington is going to slow them down. And I think Detroit, with all their injuries, would have a hard time with Jalen Hurts and the Eagles.
Yeah, Hurts did leave that game with a concussion, so we'll see, obviously, this week whether he's able to go. But the Eagles still haven't clinched that division, Mike. Like, if Hurts doesn't play against the Cowboys this week, Cowboys are playing hard. Like, could Washington? No, you're not buying it.
Are you buying the New York Football Giants being the Eagles in the last game of the season?
Definitely not.
So they clinched the division.
Yeah, all right. So anyway, to the point is, if Washington won the last 2. And the Eagles lost the last 2, Washington could still be NFC East champion. But Mike T is here to tell you that the Giants are not going to put up any resistance against the Eagles in Week 18, so we'll see. In the meantime, we have some NBA eye candy for Jeff Saturday. Clippers and Grizzlies. Ja Morant showing his athleticism with this 360-degree layup. Pretty good, Jeff.
Good heavens.
It's like you out there on the court.
I mean, that's just my game right there. Just elevate, stay up in the air. Nice little finger roll at the end to touch. Yeah, I mean, it's what I do.
I mean, I thought I was being athletic when
Josh said he's never dunking again, right?
Sadly, it was all for naught. The Grizzlies lose 114 to 110, but that sure was fun. Let's watch it again. Pretty nice.
Yeah, it's well done.
Pretty nice. Can't really argue with that. Technique is sound. Jeff would do it the same way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, NBA, tomorrow's Christmas. We got 5 star-studded games on ESPN, ESPN Plus, and ABC. Spurs Knicks starts the day with a special real-time animated version of the game on ESPN and Disney Plus. Then it's Timberwolves Mavs, Sixers Celtics, Lakers Warriors, and Nuggets Suns to cap it all off on Christmas Day. Lots more football to talk here on Get Up. Steel Pity? It's Russ. The reason that Steelers are struggling is Mike Tomlin's team going to be one and done in the playoffs again? Plus, we're going to talk college football blowouts. Could we see big changes to the playoff after a lackluster first round? We're going to talk about that and much more next. You're watching Get Up.
Eagles Nest News. The next man
Welcome
up.
to Eagles
Tanner
Nest
McKee's
News,
potential
your
to step
go-to
in for
source
the
for all
Eagles.
things
Welcome back to
Philadelphia
Eagles
Eagles.
Nest News, your go-to source for everything Philadelphia Eagles. In this week's episode, we're diving into an intriguing situation that's got Eagles fans buzzing. The possibility of rookie quarterback Tanner McKee getting a chance to show what he can do on the field before the end of the 2024 NFL season. Kenny Pickett struggles and McKee's risky, as we all know. The Eagles' quarterback room has been a topic of discussion recently, particularly after Kenny Pickett struggles in the second half of Week 16. On top of that, news broke after the game that Pickett may have suffered a potential rib injury. This raised a lot of questions among fans. Could Tanner McKee, the Eagles' promising rookie quarterback, finally get a shot in the regular season? McKee has been a fan favorite since his impressive preseason performance, but despite the hype, he has yet to throw a pass in a regular season game. He remains one of the NFL's best-kept secrets, waiting for his moment to step in and prove himself on a grand stage. With the current uncertainty surrounding Pickett, could McKee be the next man up for Philadelphia? Nick Sirianni's confidence in McKee's development. When asked about McKee's progress, head coach Nick Sirianni didn't hesitate to praise the Stanford product. Sirianni noted that McKee has been making strides during practice, particularly in scout team and developmental periods. Sirianni said that both McKee and Pickett have been getting plenty of reps, and he's impressed with McKee's performance and growth. As far as Tanner goes, he and Kenny have been getting a lot of reps on the scout team and in our developmental periods. I think both of them have done a really good job there and are continuing to develop, Sirianni shared. The Eagles head coach emphasized that regardless of who is under center, the team has confidence in their depth. Sirianni believes the Eagles are in a good position to succeed, even if McKee is called into action. He made it clear that there will always be adjustments needed, especially when a player like Pickett is unavailable, but with the talent across the roster, the Eagles will continue to fight for victories. Depth and confidence in the Eagles roster. Sirianni further highlighted the importance of team depth, praising the work of Executive Vice President, General Manager Howie Roseman, and his staff for building such a well-rounded roster. The Eagles have had to dig deep into their offensive line, secondary, and even quarterback position at various points this season. Sirianni's message was clear: no matter who plays, the team trusts every player on the roster, from the 53-man squad to the practice squad. In fact, while the Eagles don't currently have a quarterback on their practice squad, Sirianni remains confident. If McKee is called upon, or if the team needs to bring in a fourth quarterback due to Pickett's injury, the Eagles are ready to adjust. Whether it's bringing in a free agent like Ryan Tannehill or looking to add Will Grier back from the Cowboys practice squad, the Eagles are equipped to make the necessary moves. The Eagles' future looks bright. In conclusion, while the uncertainty surrounding Kenny Pickett's health adds an element of intrigue, it also provides an opportunity for Tanner McKee to potentially make his mark. Eagles fans can be excited knowing that whether it's Pickett, McKee, or anyone else on the roster, the team's depth and the leadership of Sirianni and Roseman give the Eagles a strong foundation to continue their Super Bowl push. The Eagles have shown resilience all season long, and this situation is no different. With a talented roster and a coach who believes in his players, the future is bright for the Philadelphia Eagles no matter who is at quarterback. What do you think, Eagles fans? Do you want to see Tanner McKee get a shot this season? Or do you believe Kenny Pickett can push through his injury and finish strong? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Eagles Nest News for more updates on your favorite team. Fly Eagles Fly. This structure keeps the content engaging and informative, while also encouraging interaction with the audience through calls to action. Comment, like, and subscribe. It balances the excitement around Tanner McKee's potential and the confidence in the team's depth, finishing on a high note for the Eagles' future.